really is an indicator of criminal, willful, conscious, premeditated corruption and official oppression and tyranny with a big fat capital T, that in 12 states, and the worst is Illinois, that's where we see the biggest percentage of cases. They're the king daddy of this treason, where they are arresting demonstrators, activists, business owners, people that are videotaping cops from their front yard. And the cops know that it's not applicable in the statute. They know Illinois courts have thrown it out over and over again, and they do not care. And justice states that official corruption is to be punished even more than grassroots corruption, because it's so dangerous when the power of the state gets out of hand. And instead, these police continue, and these district attorneys continue, and the state attorneys continue to try to put people in jail. I mean, they just threw out a week and a half ago the case of Mr. Allison, where they wanted life in prison for videotaping and audiotaping police in public and letting them know he was. I mean, I have run hidden cameras all the time. Police do it all the time when they pull you over. They don't tell you. They got a little camera on their lapel, basically hidden. Are they going to go to jail? No, they're not going to go to jail. There's no perception in public. You should know that when you're in public, you don't have any privacy. Now, if somebody comes up and climbs your back fence and goes up and puts a bug up against your window to pick up audio, yeah, you should get jail time. But the government's doing stuff like that. Google's doing that. TomTom's doing that. OnStar's doing that, and they're not getting in any trouble because they're claiming you contracted with them. Well, in the past, they didn't even tell you they were doing this. As people learn more, they have been forced to do this. So, what do we do about this? The people of Illinois need to get angry. You know, I've got a little short ABC newscast I want to play here. And listen to these reporters. How many of these reports have I played where the reporters all over the country go along with this? Oh, videotaping police in public or a traffic stop, you're going to jail. These journalists know the power of the press. They know the power of the First Amendment. They know all over Illinois it's been thrown out. This is in Illinois. They know this. But they play along with it. It's this servitude. It's this getting off on playing along with these hoaxes. Just like all the newscasts I can play here. You've seen them in your town, your area. It's always the same. It's the law. Take the shots. Go to jail if you don't. There's no law. It's a government of hoaxing crooks with a bunch of well-meaning reporters. And by well-meaning, they think it's good to lie. They think it's good to go along with the system. Maybe they're not well-meaning. I don't know what their problem is. Is this the type of society we want our kids growing up in? Let's go ahead and play part of the clip. Listen to this hoax.
Tonight's special segment, felony eavesdropping. You may not know that if you use your cell phone to record the voice of a police officer without his or her permission, you're committing a felony.
ABC 7's Paul Mackey joining us tonight to tell us about a man who learned about the law the hard way and has decided to challenge the state's eavesdropping law.
Kathy and Ron, this is the story of Louis Frobe, but it's also about others who've run afoul of the Illinois eavesdropping law, one of the most restrictive of its kind in the country. It requires that all parties to a conversation give their consent before you can record it legally. Say you take out your smartphone and you start taking pictures of police officers making an arrest. The pictures, the video, is allowed by law, but you must have permission before you record the audio, even if the officer is on the public way.
Oh!
I'm just an ordinary citizen. I was on my way to the movies, and all of a sudden I'm facing a felony and 15 years in prison.
Louis Frobe calls it the worst experience of his life. He was on his way to a late evening movie on an August night last year when he was stopped for speeding in far north suburban Lindenhurst. Louis didn't believe he was in a 35-mile-an-hour zone, and he figured if he was going to get a ticket, he wanted to be able to document his challenge with video evidence. So he got out this pocket camera, which he was not real adept at using. At one point, he held it out the window, trying to record where he was. When the officer, being recorded on his squad dash cam, walk back to Louis' car.
All right, that's enough. We're going to come back. These are criminals that are falsely charging people, and they know it. They know they're crooks. They are crooks. False imprisonment attempt.
We now take you live
to the Central Texas Command Center
in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Okay, so this goes to the heart of corruption in our nation. Oh, by the way, I even forgot another one of our top stories. I covered it last night. It is so incredible. NORML, the National Organization for the Legalization of Marijuana Laws, has confirmed and gotten the ATF letter that they're now telling gun dealers that it's up to them to find out if somebody is a medical marijuana card holder under state law, and that they then cannot sell them a firearm, and basically implies that people that are medical marijuana holders now cannot own a gun. Now, this is outside of law. This is outside of law. They try to twist it and claim they've got authority. But it's just like the ATF saying, we don't need a law. We're just going to say now if you sell 2 or more rifles, you got to report it to us. It's already reported to the FBI through NICS and the instant check. But it's just about, we set the precedent, you do what we say outside of law. And then it moves on to things like, oh, we're going to charge people using marijuana with a doctor's card and they say in the letter, we don't care what the state law says. This is lawlessness. But it is undoubted lawlessness that cops don't want to be videotaped. And I'm showing this newscast to analyze the propaganda of the newscast as well. Then we're going to 2 guests who've both been victims of this here in a moment, where the cop pulls the guy over, and the cop comes up, and he's recording video and audio, and he sees the guy with his camera out the window videotaping his surroundings because he believes he was driving the speed limit. You know what? I've thought about mounting in my car a built-in camera system with like 3 or 4 cameras on the car, like one on the front, one on the back, 2 on the inside. One pointing out, 1 with a dome shot on the inside. In fact, I've even had years ago a sponsor that was a sponsor on our website who was actually offering this. That's a good idea because they do not like it. They do not like it and say this vehicle protected by video and audio surveillance. I mean, what are they going to start doing? Charging a 7-Eleven when they walk in and it has that? But again, here is the cop in Illinois, pulls him over, and the gentleman says, I'm videotaping this, and the cop's just like, okay, that's it for you, buddy. Again, and I've read the Illinois statute. It doesn't say this. And for years, it's been thrown out of court. But they don't care. They keep charging and charging and charging. Take Michael Allison, who's about to join us, along with Christopher Drew, who's under the gun right now, facing 15 years for protesting and videotaping it. And he's got lung cancer, and, well, he'll tell you his story in a moment. But they also want us to pay as taxpayers to incarcerate these people while violent offenders are released. So, folks, it's the essence of tyranny when they put law-abiding citizens in dungeons. And it's hard to get into these cops' mindset and the state attorney's mindset that they would have no humanity and see you as an animal and want to create a chilling effect so the public won't videotape their other abuses. This is a desperate, incredibly abusive thing. And if this stands, we're becoming North Korea. Let's go ahead and finish the news clip.
On the public way.
I'm just an ordinary citizen. I was on my way to the movies, and all of a sudden I'm facing a felony and 15 years in prison.
Louis Frobe calls it the worst experience of his life. He was on his way to a late evening movie on an August night last year when he was stopped for speeding in far north suburban Lindenhurst. Louis didn't believe he was in a 35-mile-an-hour zone, and he figured if he was going to get a ticket, he wanted to be able to document his challenge with video evidence. So he got out this pocket camera, which he was not real adept at using. At one point, he held it out the window, trying to record where he was. When the officer, being recorded on his squad dash cam, walked back to Louis' car, the officer saw Louis' camera.
recording our conversation?
Yes.
That's what? You're eavesdropping on our conversation. I did not give you permission to do so. Step out of my vehicle. Step out of the vehicle.
Louis Frobe is then cuffed and arrested for felony eavesdropping.
That is tyranny.
I was absolutely terrified.
That is evil.
Him, I said, I didn't know about this law. Would you please take the camera? It's like, this is no big deal, and smash it. I was like, you know, I didn't know about the law.
You gotta be kidding me.
Louis spent a night in the Lake County Jail, was released on bond the next day. Later, the charges against him were dropped. But so angry was Louis Frobe that he decided to file a federal lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of the state's
All right, let's stop right there.
And they had audio. And
It's been overturned over and over again. Here's the cop videotaping him and audio taping him. And even when the guy groveled and said, take it, smash it, he wanted to punish that guy. He wanted to put him in jail. And that cop would sleep good at night if that family man spent 15 years in the pen in an Illinois state penitentiary. I mean, do you have no basic decency, Illinois, and the other 11 states doing it? Do you think any of us are safe? Our bank accounts, our pensions, our futures, anything if there's not rule of law? If government can get away with that, if that officer, not servant, not peace officer, but officer, enforcer, who's enforcing garbage, when the statute doesn't even say how they're applying it, can do that and treat a fellow citizen like they're dirt, you're going to be treated like dirt. Don't you get that? These protections are here for us all. Hard fought for. They're hiring more and more cops because the corrupt system on top is protecting them who want to enslave us. And more they're becoming enemies of the Republic, enemies of the American people, just like they are in North Korea or Mexico. Everybody knows in other parts of the world the police are dangerous, dirty thugs, a street gang. There is a very small separation between guardians of liberty, peace officers, and enforcers for a corrupt state. And you've got to decide which side you're on. I mean, now there's checkpoints all over the country with the military. With the police. Totally illegal what they're doing. Violates posse comitatus, other laws. They're just doing it. You've got to start saying no. And I know a lot of people do say no. They get kicked off the force. Well, then you need to not just leave the force. You need to speak out. You need to file lawsuits. You need to get involved. If you see a cop in one of these states going, let's charge this guy, or you're their supervisor, you need to come and say, no, this has been thrown out over and over again. But see, these cops do it because they're told in their briefings, go out there and teach the public not to tape us. And I've talked to police who've been involved. They'll say, isn't that really unconstitutional? Oh, you're not going to get promoted. They want to promote tough guys who are on roids, who will go out and push our families around. Well, you know what's going to happen. 1776 is going to happen. Let's not go there, okay? Let's not go there. Don't follow the orders of these criminal bankers. Okay, I'm done.